All right, here we go, Pre-Cal 11, section 3.4. This booklet belongs to me. Now, one thing you'll notice on my booklet is this text box got moved over. That should be a 20. Okay, now it should be a 20 in your notes, so not the end of the world. What we're doing is we're putting everything into our process, our addition, subtraction, our multiplication, our division, and then also identifying our domain, what's not allowed, what are our restrictions. Let's start with the restrictions. If we look at example 1, what is x not allowed to be? Right, so we're going to need to factor the x squared minus x minus 20, and we get, just write it up here, save a bit of room, x plus 4x minus 5. So in our domain right now, we have x cannot equal negative 6. We have x cannot equal negative 4. And we have the mirror there, but then also this, x cannot equal 5. So far so good. But what do we do first? Division. So we have to do this. So we got to change to multiplication. We have to flip, right? So what we're actually looking at is this, and this is where your domain might change after we've flipped, because you get a new denominator, and I'm going to rewrite this as its factored form. So now your denominator is x plus 6. So x can't equal negative 6. You would have to add that to your domain, but it's already there, so we're good. Now, first thing to identify, we're multiplying, so cancel, cancel. Then multiply, so we have x plus 5 over x plus 6 plus x minus 5 over x plus 6. So now we can finish this. Common denominator, right? X plus 6, and you have x plus x, so 2x, and typo here, that should be a minus 5. 5 minus 5, 0. So we just leave it 2x. So that is our solution. Classic, I wrote all over the next question. So we put everything into play. We have our domain, and we have our simplified rational expression. So let's look at example 2. Now this is a rather loaded example, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll up and give myself a little bit more space. So we have brackets. So we have to do what's in the brackets first, even though we're multiplying. So this goes first. Now let's look. We have x minus 3. Let's simplify our difference of squares. X minus 3, x plus 3. So I'm only going to work with the inside right now. I'm not even going to write the multiplication piece after. Let's factor that other polynomial, quadratic. It's going to be x plus 3 squared, so x plus 3, x plus 3. So what's missing from this one? Well, x minus 3. And what's missing from this one? X plus 3. So that'll give us a common denominator. Also, we can identify our domain here. So from the first one here, x is not allowed to be plus or minus 3. Right? Plus 3, minus 3. From the second one, x can't be negative 3, but we already have that accounted for. But then let's also look here. X can't be negative 1. So that is our domain. Now let's continue. So what we're going to have is we'll get our equivalent fractions with our common denominator. So x plus 3, x minus 3, plus x plus 3, x minus 3, all over x plus 3, x plus 3, x minus 3. And then all this is going to be multiplied by x plus 3 over x plus 1. Now, one thing we can note right off the bat is that before we multiply, we have some common factors top and bottom. We have an x plus 3 right here, we have an x plus 3 right here, and we have an x plus 3 down here. So you can actually cancel factor, factor, and there. You can only do that because you have one here and here, right, on each side of the plus sign. We also have x minus 3, x minus 3, and an x minus 3, right? So cancel, cancel, cancel. So what we have left up here is 1 plus 1 over x plus 3, right? Because when we cancel here and here, we get 1s. When we cancel here and here, we get 1. So it's 1 plus 1. And then you have this times x plus 3 over x plus 1. And again now, cancel, cancel. And we're left with 2 over x plus 1. A lot going on. Simplifies quite nicely. And don't forget your domain, right? Good. Next page. So, complex fractions. These are the fun ones. These are fractions made up of smaller fractions. So, there's a couple of questions here where I haven't solved them. I've left it in, and I'm just going to show you two methods, and then we're going to solve one using both methods. So, don't be worried or scared when you look at these. There's a lot going on, but it's a matter of keeping track of your thought process. And do the method that works best for you. All right, I'm not going to tell you have to do one or the other, but just make sure that the one you do use makes sense. You can also do more steps than you want, or sort of more steps than you have to keep it clear in your mind. So if we just look at the top fraction, what's my common denominator between those two things? And it's right here, 5x squared. What's my common denominator between those two things? And it's right here. So you can get that common denominator. That's method 1. So what's missing from 5x squared with respect to 5x? Multiplying by an x and an x. What's missing from the 3x squared is multiplying by a 5 and a 5. You end up with 2x minus 15 over 5x squared. And then if you look at the bottom fraction, what's missing from the 2x to become 4x squared? A 2x and a 2x. And then you already have a 4x squared on the right, so that just stays, right? You can rewrite that as 14x over 4x squared. And then recall that a fraction made up of two fractions is just division. This means 2x minus 15 divided by over 5x squared divided by 14x plus 3 over 4x squared. So what we did here is we flipped and we multiplied. The x squareds canceled out with one another. Did the multiplication. 4 times 2x minus 15, 5 times 14x plus 3. You know already that you can't cancel anything out, so you're done. So that's one step, is working with the numerator and the denominator separately. The next step is identifying, or method 2, is identifying a common denominator of all 4 of the denominators given. So here, 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 and here. In this case, it's 20x squared. And what you do is you just multiply both top and bottom by 20x squared. So essentially you're water bombing, right? And here I simplified it one step at a time. So 20 times 2 gives you 40x squared. 20 times 3 gives you 60x squared. You divide the 40 by 5 and you end up with 8. You divide the 60 by 1 and you end up with 60. The x squareds cancel. Do the same on the bottom and then factor out a common factor. From the top you can factor out a 4. From the bottom you can factor out a 5. So you end up in the same place. This one is a little bit more straightforward, but if you like this one, hey, by all means. Okay, so let's look at this one. I will do my best here. I'll do both methods. And I'll do them horizontally. So the first method is identifying here first. The LCD of those two would in this case be x minus 1 times x plus 2. So I'm going to get a common denominator one at a time. So for the first one I'm missing an x plus 2. And for the second one I'm missing an x minus 1. So we're going to multiply the tops. Right now I'm just going to work with the top. 1 times x plus 2 is just x plus 2. 2 times x minus 1, we will water bomb, is plus 2x minus 2. All of that is over x plus 2x minus 1. Simplify, cancel those two. So for the top of the fractions, you have 3x over x plus 2 x minus 1. The bottom half, your LCD, x plus 2 x minus 3. So missing from the left is 2 over x plus 2 times x minus 3 over x minus 3. Now careful here, you're subtracting 1 times x plus 2 over x plus 2 times x minus 3. And let's see why I say be careful with this in a minute. So simplify here on the top, we have 2x minus 6, and then minus, in brackets, x plus 2, all over x plus 2, x minus 3, water bomb. If you don't remember that, you're going to get the whole thing wrong, which is a shame, because you can do a lot of work and just miss a negative. So minus x minus 2 over x plus 2, x minus 3. Now, simplify the top, and now we have x minus 8 over x plus 2, x minus 3. Now, we are dividing, right, which is going to be the flip and multiply scenario. So if we flip the bottom fraction of the two fractions, right, so flip this one, change to multiplication, we have 3x over x plus 2, x minus 1 times x plus 2, x minus 3 over x minus 8. And now we can look to cancel common factors. So the only common factor we have is x plus 2. And now don't re-water bomb back in because we've already simplified. So we have 3x times x minus 3 over x minus 8. So that's method 1. Again, there's a lot going on here. So watch this a couple times over. But I will now scroll and I'll do method 2. Remember that method 2 involved the LCD of all of them right from the beginning. So our question was 1 over x minus 1 plus 2 over x minus 2, sorry, x plus 2 all over 2 over x plus 2 minus 1 over x minus 3. So the LCD is just all four of them, or sorry, not all four, is x minus 1 times x plus 2 times x minus 3. Now I'm going to show this to you in a bit of a different way. So you're multiplying each of the small fractions by the LCD. So we have 1 times x minus 1, x plus 2, x minus 3, plus 2 times x minus 1, x plus 2, x minus 3, and that one's over x minus 1, and that one is over x plus 2, and the whole thing is over 2 times x minus 1, x plus 2, x minus 3. Now bear in mind, I am showing more steps than you have to do. Right? This is when I normally say multiply by what's missing. This is why, and I'm demonstrating it long form. X minus 1, x plus 2, x minus 3. Because showing it this way, you see why you multiply by what's left over. Because what you already had cancels. So we got a lot of canceling that happens here. Cancel, 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 cancel. And what we're left with, forget the 1 because it's just 1 times, is x plus 2 times x minus 3 plus 2 times x minus 1 times x minus 3 over 2 times x minus 1 times x minus 3 minus x minus 1 times x plus 2. So the only difference with this one is we have to now FOIL, and all four, and then simplify. So this one takes a little bit more in my opinion. So this first one we get x squared, and then minus 3x plus 2x is minus x minus 6 plus 2 times x squared minus 4x plus 3 over 2 times x squared minus 4x plus 3 minus, keep the brackets, x squared plus 2 plus x minus 2. Now you might be intrigued or perhaps excited to cancel out the x squared minus 4x plus 3. Don't do that. You can't. It's not a common factor in everything, so you cannot do it. What we can do is we can continue to simplify. So, on the top, 2x squared, so x squared plus 2x squared, 3x squared. And then negative x minus 8x is negative 9x. And then negative 6 plus 6 is 0. On the bottom, you're going to have 2x squared, and then don't forget this, minus x squared. It's x squared. You're going to have negative 8x minus x is negative 9x. Then you're going to have 6 plus 2 is 8. Now we're going to go one step further to see if we can cancel anything out. Factor a 3x out of the top, and you're left with x minus 3. And on the bottom, we factor to x minus 1, x minus 8. So naturally, because we already solved it in the earlier question, we can't cancel, but we do have the same result. So here you have two different demonstrations that yield the same result. So let's continue. No, we won't. We're done. What I'll do is I will pick one of these to do for you. Why don't we we'll do a double fraction one, because these don't look super pleasant. You might need some extra space. You might need an extra piece of paper. That's fine. Go for it. Use as much space as you have to. Question 21 here is just algebra involving fractions. So I'm going to let you work that through. And I will do question 15. No, you know what? I'll do 16. So here we go. I'm just going to go right down into the extra space. We have 1 over x minus 1 all minus 2 over 3 over x minus 1 plus 4. So I'm going to show you a few things here actually. First, need a common denominator here and here. Remember that these are over 1, so I'm just multiplying by whatever the denominator was. So x minus 1, x minus 1. So what I end up with is 1 minus 2 times x minus 1 over x minus 1 over 3 plus 4 times x minus 1 over x minus 1. So now here's an interesting thing. If you have a fraction made up of two fractions, so here and here, and they both have the same denominator, you can just cancel the denominator and write it as this over this. Why? Because if we were to flip and multiply, that's exactly what happens. Okay, so we have 1 minus 2x minus 1 over 3 plus 4 times x minus 1, and we will simplify. 1 minus 2x plus 2 over 3 plus 4x minus 4, which is negative 2x plus 3 over 4x minus 1. And there is some minor simplification we can do in this question, but in this answer, but I don't really think we have to bother. We could leave it here, but normally we don't like looking at this, right? To have a negative as your first number. So if we factor the negative out, we'd have a negative out front, and you'd have 2x minus 3 over 4x minus 1. And this just looks nicer because you can make the entire fraction negative. Done. Okay, guys, have fun with this stuff. And we have one section to go in section 3. Talk to you next time.